Arlo is always trying to do something. At the beginning, he is trying to make his mark, and during most of the movie, he is trying to get home. Every situation that Arlo is in that he has to rescue Spot from is higher stakes than the previous situation. At first, we see Spot being taken by the pterodactyls, and then he's in the river flowing downstream, and then he is held captive by the pterodactyls and in the river flowing downstream. There isn't really a clear theme throughout most of the movie, but at the end we see the theme about the importance of foul weather friendship. Once upon a time, there was a dinosaur named Arlo. Every day he helped run his family's farm. One day his father Henry takes him to the mountains to help him conquer his fears. Because of that, Henry is killed in a flash flood and everyone else has to work harder to harvest enough food. Once upon a time, there was a dinosaur named Arlo. Every day he and his family struggle to harvest enough food to survive. One day he discovers that a human boy is eating their food. Because of that, he falls into the river, ends up far away from home, has to find his way home alone, and has to depend on Spot. Because of that, he forms a strong bond with Spot, until finally Arlo and Spot reach home. Because of that, Arlo realizes the true value of family and that it applies to Spot just as much. Until finally, Arlo lets Spot go back to his own family and makes his mark. All of the dinosaurs in the movie outside of Arlo's family are basically extensions of nature itself as they pertain to the plot, and the movie appropriately does not go into a lot of detail about their motivations and backstories. Arlo is used to doing ordinary farm work, and even then he is quite uncomfortable. When he is stranded on his own, that is the complete opposite of his comfort zone. This is a very good ending, as Arlo is able to return home and make his mark, but had to sacrifice being with Spot. The fact that Spot is gone also means that he won't be stealing food, which means that Arlo's family will be able to harvest enough. This film was far enough along that it had footage to show at the D23 Expo. It was then completely rewritten as the ending wasn't working. It isn't very realistic that Spot would come back to steal food when he expected there to be a trap. One of the main inspirations for this film was the portrayal of dinosaurs in popular culture as fearless monsters, which the filmmakers wanted to divert from. As I explained in point 8, this film underwent more revisions than any other Pixar film, even when it was far into production. The fact that this film underwent so much revision means that the obvious was far out of the way of the final version. The fact that Arlo wants to kill Spot despite being afraid and alone, and despite the fact that Spot was only indirectly responsible for Henry's death, shows how strong his opinions are. This movie is yet another story about someone who is young and inexperienced trying to find their way home. There's also no reason that it had to be told with dinosaurs. Arlo is constantly in fear throughout the movie. This is completely understandable as he has to survive on his own in an unfamiliar environment. Arlo survives the exact same thing that killed Henry. The fact that the story was changed so much without being pulled from the release schedule shows that the filmmaker still wanted to tell the story even if it had a low chance of working. Arlo's final tests are that he has to rescue Spot, who at the beginning of the movie he actively wanted to kill, and then he has to let Spot go despite neither of them wanting to. It sure is convenient that Arlo is able to take out all three of the pterodactyls and save Spot, as two of them were taken out by a tree falling them that was beyond Arlo's control, and the third was taken out because Arlo was able to throw the stick at it, when throwing things was not one of the skills that Arlo gained during the previous parts of the movie. The building blocks of the original version of the movie were rearranged in several ways, most significantly to make Spot appear less like an insect and more like an actual character that Arlo could relate to. Arlo was significantly older in the first version of the film. He was made younger so that the coming-of-age story was easier to identify with. Arlo and his family are suffering because of Henry's death. Arlo gets lost with the boy who caused Henry's death. They have to work together to get home, and Arlo realizes the value of friendship and family.